let's see, day twos. We'll see if Boyan has something like a bit of briefing and information for us. Boyan, could you give us some information, highlight what's happened today?
Yeah, we're waiting for the second race today, and this ground is very wet from the rain we had last night, and also we have a lot of upper cloud. So we're waiting to see if the temperature comes up enough, the thermals get going, and if there's enough of a cloudless area, an open area, that gives us enough time to make the race. We expect to make a decision in the next 20 minutes or so.
Okay, let's see.
Thanks.
Can we talk to you too? How are you today?
I am good. I am, looking forward to flying again.
Okay, so yesterday you had an interesting flight.
I was rubbish. The good thing about Grand Prix is you can try different things, and I pushed really hard for the first turn, but I just didn't connect with the climb. So I couldn't climb up. Everybody else went away, so I did my own thing.
Okay, today is another day.
That's the great thing. That's the great thing about Grand Prix. It doesn't matter. I haven't lost the contest. I can race again.
Let's do that. We will follow you.
Thank you, Claire.
See you.
Today's race was really quite an interesting one because the conditions we were flying in were very difficult. We had a lot of high cloud, overdevelopment passed through, and it was going to be a really tricky day. Luckily, everybody was at a good altitude to make the start, and we were able to see quite an excellent start, but the start altitude was quite low, which meant that there was a choice to go through the start line and try to go straight to the ridges to the north, or to take a sharp left turn from the start line and go back up the Marangues Valley to get altitude. Everybody went this way, two groups to the left, one back to the Marangues Valley, and the other one went straight towards the Puy-Moron Valley to climb on the end of Carlite. Except for Didier and for Gintas, who went off to the south, completely on their own. And we can see that the complete difference in the strategy, with Didier and Gintas flying along the south side of the valley, looking for lift, but getting lower and lower. The guys who turned immediately left, they climbed a little bit, and then they moved on to the top of the Pedro mountain and went to join the others on Carlite. Luckily, or with good strategy, Didier and Gintas found quite a good climb just before the turning point. And they were able to make quite a lot of progress. And we see that Mike Delta, Vladimir, he had flown straight to the turning point along the ridges, but it turned out to be a big mistake because he got lower and lower and eventually ended up quite low in the valley. But he did manage to climb away when he got back in the vicinity of the airfield. The rest of the competitors climbed on the north side of the valley on the Carlite mountain. Didier and Gintas managed to take the turn quite high, and they came out of the turn much higher than all the other competitors who'd taken the northern route going in. And they had the pleasure of looking down on most of the pilots flying towards the turn. They flew to the end of Carlite where they were climbing, and they took as much altitude as they could get at that point. And we can see that still Louis and Lucas and Sebastian were well to the north, still climbing, heading for the turning point. Didier went even further north and climbed up to 3,200 meters, a very good altitude for today. But most people stuck on the lower ridges, getting really stuck on the end of Carlit and not being able to get a good altitude. The people who took the lower route to the left really suffered from it. And we can see that Didier was way ahead, a long way in front, heading along the lower ridge after the Andorra Valley and coming towards the turning point completely alone and a long way ahead of everybody else. In the meantime, most people had come back, were still heading to this turning point, and they were climbing on the north side of the La Rabassa, and we can see that Sebastian went even further to the north in the expectation of good lift. It was completely overcast at this point. There was overdevelopment to the north, and it was making the situation very difficult for everybody. Didier went through the turning point, and he went just beyond the turning point to find a climb, but it wasn't such a great climb. And Mike Young and John Gatfield and Peter from Australia had climbed up just the other side of the turning point, and Didier came back to join them. Didier ran back, and we can see already that Didier is a long way after the turning point, probably 20 kilometers in the lead, and Sebastian is climbing a long way to the north, trying to get a decent altitude. And Luca is still heading into the turning point. It's a critical moment now because Didier needs to climb. He's heading for the Andorra Valley. He'll cross the valley, and he's coming on to La Rabassa. We can see the slope at the bottom of the mountain of Monturil, and he's looking for the climb. This is a really critical place, and normally you climb very well. Adam is already there, still on his way to the turning point, and we can see Christoph and Vladimir are still heading to the west towards the turn point. Didier is a bit unlucky, it seems here. He didn't really get the climb. Sebastian in JS3, he had taken a great climb well to the north, 3,500 meters, and it took him right into the turn very high. Initially he started to head back to the north, but then changed his mind, and he decided he would go more on track in the direction of Monturil, in the direction that Didier had already gone. The other people who were leading at the time, Mike Young in 120 and John Gatfield, they'd gone north, but they didn't really get a good climb. At this point, Didier had arrived on the Carabassa mountain, and he really didn't climb. He got stuck there, and he found still competitors who were still actually on the way to the second turning point. He came to where you would normally expect it to be good, but he didn't get a climb. In the meantime, Sebastian found that climb on Monturil. He got the climb that Didier didn't get, but he did arrive quite a lot higher on the top, and that made a very big difference. And so we then are in a very different situation. Didier has climbed up a little. He's got just enough height for a final glide, but Sebastian is on Carlit, and he's very much higher, and he climbs well above final glide. They need more than final glide to take this turning point, which has been a bit marginal. And we can see the point at which Sebastian passes Didier. This is only 10 kilometers or so from the turning point, and Sebastian's got a lot more energy. He finds it easy to go around the turning point ahead, and effectively the race is over. When they take the turn, Sebastian takes the turn at a good altitude, Didier running in some 30 seconds behind him, and it's just a straight run home and the race is over. Sebastian wins the day, and Didier comes in second place. There's quite a battle taking place for third and fourth, and for fifth and sixth. The points are really important. And so whilst these guys are passing each other and coming into the turning point, and Sebastian's on his way home, we will see the little fight that's taking place with most of the competitors still on the leg back from the west, trying to get some altitude. For third and fourth place, we have quite a close fight between Lukas Wojciech and Mike Young. Mike was 200 meters higher, 4 kilometers back when they started the final glide, but they close up to 1 kilometer. And we can see here the final glide coming into the airfield, and it's very, very close, but Mike never really manages to close that gap and ends up just 300 meters behind Luca at the last point. That was a great race for today.
So, congratulations.
Merci.
What a race. What makes you go so north? Did you take wave something? I want to know everything about
If you look at this clouds there, it's more than 3,800 meters cloud bases. So the weather was, the air mass is very unstable, and it was enough that we found some patches of sunshine, and it was producing strong thermals. But in the beginning, we were in the shadow in this valley, and that was a problem.
So you did a very, very good race. Didn't you know about Didier, just front of you, but lower?
I didn't know about him. I couldn't see anybody, so that was a surprise when I saw him. But I took a long way, relaxed.
You have your 10 points. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Have a good evening and see you for the podium.
See you.
Et c'est parti comme ça.
Hi, Didier.
Oh, Claire! Here you are.
I know. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So,
I'm really happy.
yes, you can. You did a very, very good race.
Yes. It was
Tell us, what makes
exciting.
you leave,
It was interesting.
Like you left everyone in the back.
the big thing was the first leg, the first tunnel, and the option to go on the north side of the valley. First, it was medium. I was not sure, and we only were two gliders, which is always a bit, just. And at the second terminal, we got 2.5 and 3 on the maximum altitude, and we saw everybody 1,000 meters below. And then after that, I made the flight in front, I think. But Sebastian, I think I was a bit early at the second, the second point, and the sun just came again, and it was climbing, but very, very slowly, and lost a lot of time there.
Yes, mainly on a ridge when you came back. You were with the one that was going to the turn point.
Yes.
This must have been a bit frustrating.
For them, yes. For me, no.
Okay, so Anja, you was a great race to follow you today. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
See you.
And in third position with 78.7 kilometers per hour, Lucas Volchik.
Okay.
Volchik. Good job, sir. Thank you.
Wow.
In second position, we have Didi House.
Thank you, sir.
It was very close.
So close. C'est du champagne de Cerdanya.
No, mais presque. And first position, we have Sebastian Kawa.
It was
With 85 kilometers per hour.
Pronunciation, thank you.
I tried.
Sebastian.
Gratulacje. Wyjdzie tam? No. Dobra. Co teraz mam zrobić?
Yeah.
No?
Okay, yeah, open the button and
Yes.
do this.
The first to do. Sebastian, you're late on the lane. So tight.
I was drinking.
Yes?
Oh!